Hi guys, and welcome to this tutorial on Fluent Assertions, and in this one we'll be looking at basic string assertions. Strings are one of the most common things you'll be testing, so it's important to have a good base in them when asserting. We'll go through today just the standard set of strings and a couple of nice ones that Fluent Assertions provide that XUnit doesn't. So I'm just going to start off by having a couple of variables. So we've got the not null string, which is not null, the null string, an empty string, which is a string.empty, and a string with lots and lots of white space. And what we'll do is we'll just go through kind of one by one each of the common tests, and we'll start with simple equality. So in XUnit and the simple equality, remember you'll always have the assert and then the method you're actually doing, followed by the expected string, and then the actual string you're providing. So just to show you this works, you run this and this runs absolutely slowly. Oh, I debugged it, that's why. Idiot. But fine, which is the good thing. Now, with Fluent Assertions, exact kind of same manner, does the exact same thing, but what you'll notice is it reads a lot better immediately. You have everything is an extension method in Fluent Assertions, so you're doing it immediately on the string, so you can check what's happening, and you're just saying .should.be, this is my string, and you'll see immediately how much it reads like English. You don't need to be a programmer or have any kind of programming knowledge really to understand what this is doing, and that's really important. Making it read nice. It reads like a bedtime story. We can also do in Fluent Assertions and in XUnit, we can do this with ignoring a case. And this is also something that you might want to check relatively regularly. And you can see here that we are going to ignore this case, and this is just saying, this is my string, we should ignore it, this should pass. And again, if we run this, it passes successfully. We can do the exact same thing with Fluent Assertions. Now, bear in mind, depending on the IDE you use, you don't get this nice little ignore case. This is Rider telling you this by default to say, hey, this variable is called ignore case. So if you use something like Visual Studio, this would just be true, which makes it immediately a little bit harder to read. You don't know what true is in that sense. You don't know if it's anything to do with casing. It could be to do with, well, anything really. But the fantastic thing about Fluent Assertions is, again, we don't need to worry about it. It reads like English. So again, not null string, should, and then we've just got be equivalent to, which is essentially the same thing as this, but it's just saying it should be equivalent to this string, but I don't particularly care about the casing. And again, if we run this, it should pass, and it does. Next, we're going to look at the nulls, and these are really, really quick and simple. Asserting a null, and again, we're just asserting the null string, so assert.null. In XUnit, it's also really, really clean. Fluent Assertions, similar, but again, slightly different. Reads like English, again, all based on extension methods. And if we run it, we will pass. Following on, we've got the empty strings that we can assert and check. And again, assert.empty, providing the empty string, and it should be empty. Fluent Assertions, again, the same way. Empty string, .should.be empty. Again, it's a little bit clearer. Not much clearer in this kind of situation, but you do get a very nice, feedback's the wrong word, it reads very, very cleanly. And I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker now in the sense of we've got not empty, and we can do that here again with not empty. So we've got the not null string, which we know should not be empty. That should pass. And it does. Now, I will go something very cool about all of these Fluent Assertions things, is you can give a reason why this should be true, and you can do this on every single one. So in this, if this is null, it's just null. You can't provide any further feedback to the developer for the failing test as to why that might have happened. Where in here, every assertion in Fluent Assertions has a because. So you can specify a reason to say, maybe it's not best to start with because a null string is always null. And obviously this is a bit of a rubbish reason, but it does provide that extra bit of, this time it is feedback to the developer in the future to say, oh, maybe this is why it's gone wrong. Now we'll look at the first one where, in reality, this is what Fluent Assertion is all about. We've got here an assert equal on length. So what we're saying is this string here has a length of 17. This will pass, and we just check the property of length. The nice thing about Fluent Assertions is if you do things like this, where you have to do blah and check on specific properties like length, count, etc., there is normally always a better way. And Fluent Assertions has it like this. So again, we've got should, and then we've got the have length function on the end of it. And it just reads so much cleaner. And we'll bash through some of these towards the end. Again, pretty similar. We've got the assert contains. So yeah, it's, again, this is pretty self-explanatory. Not going to spend too much time on this one. And then we have another assert contains. This one with ignoring the case again. So in this situation, you can't, or can you do this in XUnit? Oh yes, you can. So in XUnit you can do it by specifying the invariant culture, and in Fluent Assertions you don't need to do that. You just need to say, hey, is this the same string? I don't care about capitalization, about upper or lowercase. Just, is this the same string? Tell me. And now a very nice one that comes into Fluent Assertions, which I don't think you can do with XUnit at all unless you write your own function around it, is you can specify how often this should happen in a string. So in this situation, we're checking that is my is there, and it is there exactly once. But you can also do things like exactly twice, exactly thrice, or you can do times dot and then how many times you expect it. I think you can also do less than and more than is less than thrice, less than twice, less than times, and you can also do that on more than. So again, it reads cleanly, it reads like English. It's very, very clear what is going on. And I should change that, otherwise that will fail and I will be confused. There we go. And again, following on the things that Fluent Assertions just does better, we're going to check now for null or white space, string, empty, null or white space. And in XUnit, you don't have the capability for this. You have to do it like this. So you have to assert that this function here is true. And that is horrible to read, especially when you look at the negative side of it as well. If we were to do this with the not null string, we have to assert that it's not, or you could do it on false, and it just doesn't read well. It's not nice to read, it's not nice to use, it's not nice as an assertion. And again, with the Fluent Assertions, let's call it philosophy, if there's an easier way, if it doesn't feel right, there's usually an easier way. And there we go. Again, null string should be null or white space, empty string, null or white space. And if we run all of these, they pass. Perfect, I'm glad. And finally, again, because there should always be an easier way, on this one, you've got the negative aspect as well. So a not null string should not be null or white space. And for me, these kind of functions here are the reason that Fluent Assertions is one of the biggest assertion libraries in .NET. It makes your assertions look so much cleaner. It's so much clear what is happening, and the feedback in terms of reasoning as to why something's happening. So if we were to go to the here again and do the because, because reasons, then it gives that feedback immediately back to the developer, which will help them debug the code going forward. That's going to be the end for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one where we'll probably be doing numeric types. And I'll see you then. Cheers!